No matter what anybody tries to say, the facts are stubborn. What I did was legally permitted. Number one, first and foremost, okay? Number two, I turned over out of an abundance of an attempt to be helpful over anything that I thought was even vaguely related. In fact, they've already concluded more than 1,200 of the emails I gave them have nothing to do with the work.
That's her story. She's apparently sticking to it. Presidential candidate Hillary Clinton talking to the press on the campaign trail Tuesday. She insists her handling of the email server and the attendant emails was entirely legal. Mrs. Clinton continues to struggle with Servergate as the latest CNN poll shows her favorability rating at its lowest since 2001. It also shows Republican frontrunner Donald Trump gaining ground not only with Republican voters, but with all registered voters. In fact, if the election were held today, Hillary Clinton's margin of victory is only 6%, and it could be shrinking even further. For more on the story, let's call on our friend, political analyst Dick Morris, checking in from Newsmax, New York. Dick is also the author of the best-selling book, Power Grab, Obama's Dangerous Plan for a One-Party Nation. Dick, it's good to have you back here on Newsmax Prime. Not only Hillary's answers, but the way she stormed out of that press conference on Tuesday. If you were advising her, what would you be telling her?
Oh, my God. Drop out of the race and be glad you're not going to jail. I mean, to understand the magnitude of what she's facing, just do the math. There are 305 emails that have been identified as potentially containing classified information. That's of about 5,000 that were reviewed. There's still 25,000 more to go to be reviewed. In addition, there are 30,000 that have been wiped off, and the FBI says it may be able to get them back. And 15,000 or so that Philippe Reines, her advisor, has, and 5,000 or 6,000 that Uma Abedin, her advisor, has. I mean, what does the Secretary of State do for a living? National security. So when you look at her emails, you're going to find an abundance of emails that contain national security, in some cases, classified information. And when you look at 50,000 of her emails, you're going to find a lot. And 1 or 2 or 3 in the past has been enough to indict Petraeus and Sandy Berger and Deutsch, the head of the CIA. Hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, will be enough for Hillary Clinton.
Washington being Washington, do you imagine that some emissaries from the Obama administration or Vice President Biden or the Democrat National Committee have gone to Hillary saying, look, this is really bad?
No, I mean, the notion that you could ever talk Hillary out of running is ridiculous. When they made her leave the White House, she took the china with her. She'll be hanging on to the drapes and the curtains to try to pull her away. But what I think is happening is that I think the Clinton camp believes, and I think with some justification, that a lot of the leaks and a lot of the information is coming from the Obama administration, that this is all part of an Obama effort to replace Hillary with Joe Biden, who would be a much more tractable nominee and someone who much more reliably would follow Barack Obama's radical agenda. But the pattern of leaks is such that you really have to look to Obama on this.
Dick, a minute and a half remains. Couple of stories I want to get to. First, the New York Times has an article saying Donald Trump has put the GOP in a tight spot with Hispanic voters. They cite conservative Hispanic pundits saying the GOP really needs to distance itself from Trump. Is there a concerted effort from the GOP establishment to try to use this against Donald Trump despite his rise in the polls?
Yeah, I think it is an effort to try to dump on Trump. But let's remember that there are two kinds of Latino voters, immigrants and people that were born in the U.S. 3/4 of the Latino vote was born in the U.S. and they are much, much less sympathetic with amnesty than those who are immigrants.
Gotcha.
And,
so really it's the myth of the monolith at work, and there's a real difference within the Hispanic community. Now,
that's good,
before
the myth of the monolith.
You like that? I've been using it for years, but thanks. Anyway, before we go, Michael Reagan was on this program Tuesday, took strong exception to Donald Trump and really to all candidates trying to use his father's good name to improve their positions. Let's take a listen to him and get your reaction.
You know, these people looking to wrap themselves in the mantle of Ronald Reagan are doing a disservice to themselves and a disservice to my father. Wrap yourself in your own mantle. Tell us who you are.
So what about that? Does he have a point? 15 seconds.
I think he's misunderstanding what they're trying to do. It's not that they're saying, I'm like Reagan, vote for me. It's like they're telling the conservatives, you can still be a believing conservative and win a national election without hiding it. Look at what Ronald Reagan did.
Dick Morris, we thank you very much for your time. As a reminder, you can get your copy of the best-selling book, Power Grab, by going to this website, powergrab411.com. We're coming back.